Number one, reinforcing God's requirements. They don't go away just because you don't want to do it. Number two, rejoicing in God's faithfulness. God is totally faithful to you every day of your life. And lastly, respecting God's authority. Respecting God's authority. While the Israelite males were healing, possibly up to a month, so listen, all the army guys, all the Marines, all the infantry, everybody that's going into Jericho or going in to take the land, they're healing. So imagine getting circumcised right before you go to war. It's going to take a minute or two or 20. So you know what's interesting here is there's only 2 people that made it into the promised land from the old generation. So if you get on Jeopardy and you're going to win some money, say, who are the only 2 people that made it into Canaan from the old generation? Is Joshua and Caleb. And make sure you tithe on whatever money you win on Jeopardy, okay? Because your pastor gave you that answer. But here's the point. Joshua and Caleb have already been circumcised. So he's good. He did it like 40 years ago. He's gold. So imagine Joshua now is waiting for all the guys to heal. And he's like, oh, come on, you wimps. I did this like 40 years ago. So now watch, Joshua goes near Jericho in the story, and it looks like he's, as a general, he's looking at Jericho, how to take it, and he's like, because he doesn't know how he's going to do it. Next week, we will see one of the most famous stories in the Bible where the walls of Jericho fall down supernaturally. But at this point, he doesn't know how he's going to take it. They're a nomadic tribe. How are they going to take a walled city? You're not going to. Your only hope is to starve them out, and you might starve before they starve. So how's he going to take it? Joshua doesn't know. And you know what's awesome about this story is it looks like he's looking at the ground. He's probably thinking, we miraculously went across the Jordan. I don't know how we're going to take a walled city. And all of a sudden he looks up, and there, standing just a little ways away from him, is a guy with a sword. And Joshua must have been like, I can't believe I let a guy get this close to me. I didn't even notice him walking. Like, how can I be that lame that I'm looking at the ground, all of a sudden I raise my eyes up, and there's a guy with a sword. And you know what I love about this story? Joshua, he's the greatest general from 3,000 years ago. Joshua, in the first chapter, God says this to Joshua: no man will ever be able to stand before you. What that means is he's going to be unkillable his whole life. And so Joshua sees this guy with a sword in his hand, and Joshua stands up, pulls his sword out, and goes to confront this guy. And I love the question he asks him: are you for us? And probably pointing at Jericho, or for them. Are you for us or for our adversaries? And I love the answer of the guy. He goes, no. Doesn't really seem like an appropriate answer for my question. He goes, I'm the commander of the Lord's army, and I've come now. And you know what's amazing in this story is that Joshua, who God swore to him, no man will ever kill you. No one will ever stand before you the whole rest of your life. That means he's the most powerful general on earth in Joshua chapter 5. And what he should have done was he should have walked up to that guy and put this under his chin and gone, no, I asked you a question, son. And no's not the appropriate answer. But instead, you know what Joshua does? It says when the man says, I'm the commander of the Lord's army, I'm not for you or Jericho, I'm on my own team. He goes, I'm not on anybody's side, I'm on my own side, which only God can say. It says that Joshua gets down on the ground and he puts his face in the dirt. And you know, in Hebrew, the phrase there that says, what does my master say to his servant? It means literally, what does my master say to his slave? Now for Joshua, who's the most powerful man, military man in the world at this point, for him to put his face in the dirt in total submission means one thing. It means that this is probably a theophany of Jesus. This is probably God showing up in the Old Testament for this reason, is that no time ever when an angel shows up does the angel tell a person, take your shoes off because where you're standing near me is holy. You know, the only other time that happened was at the burning bush, where Moses was told by God in the burning bush to take your sandals off because the place where you're standing is holy, that means that God's near. And so Joshua here probably runs into a pre-incarnate Jesus, that Jesus manifests himself as a man with a sword, being the commander of the Lord's army. And he goes, take your shoes off, because if you're near me, it's holy ground. And only God says that of himself. Never an angel says that of himself as an angel alone. With the miracle he had just experienced and God's promises to him, Joshua was the most powerful general on earth. Yet in the military, as in life, he gives way to his superior. As Joshua worshiped and removed his sandals in holiness, this was probably a theophany of Jesus. Against God, you're always overmatched. All authority is just borrowed authority from the ultimate authority. So gentlemen, as the leader of your home, you have authority in your home. God made you stronger than your wife, hopefully, unless she breaks your arm when she arm wrestles you. You might have a stud for a wife, I don't know. Masculinity and femininity is not conflict, should not be conflict-oriented. They should be complementary to one another. They should work with each other, not against each other. So God has made men very special in that respect. God has given you authority, but understand your authority is just borrowed from God. And how God views the authority he's given you, you'll be held accountable for someday. Our presidents will be held accountable for how they've shown authority. Our civic leaders will be held accountable for how they've had authority. You as husbands, if you're a husband in here, will be held accountable for how you've been the authority in your home. And I love this about Joshua. He doesn't go, what's up? He gets on his face because he realizes that in front of God, he has no authority. Understand this, and I close. Submission in your life is the key to victory in your life. Let me help you. Ready, rebellious kids? Ready? Who you're submissive to dictates the direction of your life. Now you might be thinking, I'm not submissive to anybody. Yeah, you are. When the cherry beams go off in your rearview mirror, boo! You pull the heck over. If you decide to run, good luck, because a helicopter's coming for you. Understand, we are submissive in every area of our life. When you get on the road, think about this. When you get on the road, you're submissive to paint. There's paint that tells you what side of the road to drive on. And depending on what color it is, tells you if you're correct. You're submissive to a 16th inch thick piece of paint. When you pull up to a stoplight, you're submissive to lights. And they're not even a thing. It's just red, yellow, or what's the other one? Green. Even light makes you submissive. If you decide to go, I'm not going to be submissive, I'm going to drive on this side of the road because I'm from Europe. Then you get onto a head-on collision and you might die or kill someone else. In other words, submission is part of life. You're submissive every day of your life. It just depends on who or what you're going to be submissive to. If you decide not to be submissive to the color of light and you go right through an intersection and get T-boned and die, it's not somebody else's fault, it's your fault because you weren't submissive to light. Listen, the direction of your life will directly be dictated by who you're submissive to. God has put authority over your life that if you rebel against it, understand you just break yourself. You just get yourself T-boned. You're not going to be submissive to your parents if you're in their home? Okay. You're just going to train wreck your life. I'm going to tell you up front. You're not going to be submissive to pastors or leaders or whatever. Understand, if you fight against the authority God's given you, if it's godly, you just break yourself. And I love this about Joshua. He doesn't fight authority. He goes, this is the ultimate authority. I'm the stud. I'm number one on the earth. But this guy's number one-er. Whatever pre-one is, that's what he is. The angel of the Lord is God. He is my ultimate authority. So let me encourage you with this as your pastor. Number one, today let this be your day. Go clean up past stuff. Make hard phone calls. Make hard emails. Feel the weight lifted off you. Rejoice in God's faithfulness to you because he loves you every day of your life. And lastly, respect the authority God's put in your life. Doesn't mean you're going to be okay with everything they do, but at least respect the authority. Don't make chaos out of your life. God will bless you because he might rise you up to be an authority someday. But God will never raise somebody up to be authority when they're rebellious. God blesses those who will bless others in the way they live their lives.